Can't hear you.
Check, check, check. There we go. I was like, man, what is going on with my microphone? My little plug in I came and I was like, man, I'm just talking up somewhere. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. We got quite a few people. We got Brandon, we got Night Shift, we got rap, what's that, rap goddess, we got David, we got I can't see that, Q, we got Trade, we got Night Shift, we got a Night Shift Zombie. We got a lot of people coming on with us this morning. Definitely glad to have each and every one of you. You can definitely be a part of the conversation. All you have to do is dial 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. This is the Morning Glow. Before I go another step further, before I do anything else, I got to say good morning, Captain Leonard. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, in the Morning Glow family.
Man, how you doing this? How you doing today, man? How was your weekend, brother?
Doing just fine.
Good
Had an
deal.
excellent weekend. Beautiful weather.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I had a good time myself, man. But listen here, Leonard. I gotta ask you, man. Get us up to speed, man. I saw something that happened with Kadeem Reed,
Yeah.
Kasim.
Oh my God, Kasim Reed. Is that what you said?
Yeah, man. Look at Kadeem, Kasim, that brother. He in a pickle right now, man. Because that one lady came out, man. I don't know if you saw that, but she came out, man, and she put him on blast, man.
Well, you can't do dirty work and hide your hands. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
That's the thing about having been the mayor previously.
yeah, yeah.
Most people whom you've really destroyed have not forgotten what you've done, and that is the
Mm,
reason why they're not going to vote for you the
mm,
next time you run, because you can't do that much damage to people's lives
yeah, yeah.
and expect them to forget about it.
Mm.
It's amazing to me that he actually ran again.
Yeah, because she asked him the question. She said, "Why are you running again? To lie some more? To lie again?" I was like, "Man, this lady." And only thing he could do, because I'm gonna tell you, Leonard, it was funny. 'Cause I showed it to my wife last night too, and my wife was like, "Wow." But he was about, when he saw that lady stand up. Evidently, he recognized her and knew who she was,
Of
because
course.
immediately now he's, oh, I got another engagement. I got to get to this new other engagement. I got to go to blah blah. She said, hold on, before you leave. Oh, I was like, oh, boy, she about,
he
you can tell, and look at Leonard, she was a sister, man. You could tell how she started off, man. She was about to go in, and
well,
she
that's the
did.
thing about it. Once you represent certain people, and those people who hold people accountable, that's what you're talking about, holding people accountable. That's what
Yes,
she's
yes.
doing. That person has been involved with the mayor from the beginning because she had an interest that she was interested in. And
Mm-hmm.
like she said, it was her community most
Yes, yes.
devastated by this black man's
Mm-hmm.
time in office.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And that's what people have to understand. If you just tell the truth of the matter,
Yeah, yeah.
the people will respond.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to get truth out there. I know I've observed Mr. Reed. I've had debates with him. I remember when he first started, when he ran for mayor the first time,
Mm-hmm.
or what have you. I remember dealing with him in office on various issues. But
Mm.
people who lived in the city of Atlanta
Yes.
remember what it was like.
Now,
And
was
so,
now let me ask you a question, because you would know this more than I would. Is it difficult to work with, man? Because I've heard some stories now. Is it difficult to work with?
well, it depends on what you mean difficult. He has
Mm-hmm.
no reason whatsoever to really negotiate or give up his position on anything.
Mm-hmm.
He is what you would call a bully type of mayor.
Wow.
He is going to do what exactly it is he wants to do, and
Mm-hmm.
for whose interest that supports him.
Mm.
The way he sees it is the way it should go. So the
Mm.
city of Atlanta needs to understand that. That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that woman wasn't lying.
Mm-hmm.
No one who has ever dealt with him is usually lying. He's a very strong character.
Mm-hmm.
But people should understand, you have to remember these politicians, especially when they come back. What you going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
there when candidates before were wouldn't even he ran unopposed.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I believe pretty much his second term he was mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do that, and not to remember all of the indictments and
Yes.
all of
Yes.
the corruption and
Mm-hmm.
things in office at that time that was being exposed in the city of Atlanta, the power
Mm-hmm.
struggles with doing what's best for the people and doing what's best for corporations that wanted into the city.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take into account those things when you're voting for a person for mayor.
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, bro. She bought out everything. She bought out everything. Look, what are you gonna do now, man? Are you gonna lie some more? What are you gonna do? I voted for you. She said, I was in your corner. She said, I voted for you.
Exactly. But
Mm.
that's what happened when you just look at a person's skin color and not the
Yeah,
work.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, when you just
It's
look
sad
at
but true.
people's skin color and you think
Mm-hmm.
that just because they got the same skin color, they got things your best interest at heart.
They understand the struggles.
But you have a lot of people who have learned to play the game and they support the people that support them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things in the world in such cities like Atlanta with black power is gentrification
Mm-hmm.
and the unbalanced use of eminent domain to take over people's property,
And that's what happened
quoting
with
for
her.
the best needs of the city.
And that's what she was a part of, the gentrification, where they try to take her property. Am I
Right.
correct?
Whether it be increasing taxes on the property or using code enforcement to run people off the property, these are things that have been used against specifically people of color
Mm-hmm.
for a very long time. Adverse reaction. Say, for instance, if I want your property, I can. If I complain enough, and I got people to come out and say, "Hey, you know what? Your tree limbs hanging too much over your fence."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I'm an elderly person and I don't, get the contact, next thing you know, you sending me a notice to take my house.
Mm-hmm. She said that they charged was going to charge it. They found some stuff in the house. Supposedly found some stuff in the house, and they was going to charge her $200 a day until she got it taken care of. And after 30 days, they were going to take her property.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's a lot of people were charged and went to jail, I believe, during his time in office,
yeah.
especially as it relates to property.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We know there was also a big struggle between APS and the mayor's office when it came to property ownership and things of
Mm-hmm.
that nature. So, one, you have to think about it at this time when local elections are happening. You have to go in on these people that are running for mayor and representing your cities because
Mm-hmm.
they're making the decisions that which is causing your city to change, whether
Yeah.
it be for your benefit or somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Those commissioners, those city councils, and those mayors are leading that activity.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to consider that.
But see, the thing about it, man, she said that they actually his people that's on his cabinet lied about different things, lied in court about different situations that was going on in under his administration. He did nothing. He made all these promises. I got a. She said that he said I got a short term and a long term, so you never have to worry about this again. And he was lying to her, man. He was lying
Well, I
to her.
mean, that shouldn't. Man, when are black people gonna get over this notion that is somebody's indebted to tell you the truth?
Mm,
Why would you even assume that?
yeah, yeah.
Like I said,
But
I look for what you do more. I watch what you do. If you hadn't previously been about protecting homeowners' homes and things like that, electing you mayor ain't gonna change.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
mean, making you mayor is not going to change it, but a lot of people lie to you. That's why you have to look and see, okay, what is the feasibility of what they just said? Does what they
hmm
s- does what that person is what that person just said even possible?
yeah.
Is it in their power to do so, or do they have to work with the city council to get it done? Telling people what you are going to do and what you are able to do and what you need support in doing are very
Mhm.
different things.
Yes.
So I think that's where a lot of people get misled. But if you have a question, that
Mm-hmm.
needs addressing, just like the lady at that particular meeting. You have to make sure it's heard because you see
Mm-hmm.
what was on the news, what wound up on the news.
Yeah.
You see what was exposed. That's a
Mm-hmm.
huge hit against
Mm-hmm.
his campaign for the very
Exactly.
simple fact that going into that week, he was pretty much, I believe, almost neck and neck with his number one contender being City
Uh,
Council President Felicia
Felicia.
Moore.
Yeah. Felicia, man, she's powerful, man.
She
Felicia.
is.
Yeah.
She is, but
Felicia.
there's a lot of people that may not agree with her. She's definitely knows the city. She's definitely been championing the people
Mm-hmm.
up to this point. But some people say maybe the mayor's office can change you. Some people have to understand that. But if you have to look at the person's work going into the situation, you can go back and look at Felicia Moore's work. You can go back and look at what Kasim Reed did.
Mm-hmm.
You can see what they did and what they bring to this office of mayor. So there's no excuse that I'm gonna try him. No, you know exactly who Kasim Reed is.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Atlanta knows exactly who Kasim Reed is. New voters need to get to know who he is, and they need to find out if what he wants for the city lines up with what they would want for the city.
Now, Leonard, do you think he have a chance of winning again, or how
Most
how
definitely.
how hurtful was that though? Because that I mean, if people listen to just what she said and how she presented herself,
Hmm.
man, that could really hurt him.
But yeah, that could hurt him. But the people that don't care about her could care less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if more of them go to the polls and vote that don't care,
Mm-hmm.
then that candidate will win. So just as people can't, I can't believe you did. It didn't just happen to one person.
Yeah. Wow.
That just didn't happen to one person. That's what
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand. That's a pattern of behavior related to gentrification that a lot of people and a lot of organizations protest against. However, as you know, with the mayor sitting now, the discussions and the way you do things is very important. There's a
Mm-hmm.
way to improve a city without hurting residents that have already been there, elderly people. There's a way to improve the city and do that without displacing those individuals from their
Mm-hmm.
homes. So one, yeah, one of the big issues, I believe, also was that one of the candidates run on is after school programs and places for kids to go in the city or what have you. Well, explain to me if the places were open for kids, how did they get closed, and why do you have to reopen them again?
Exactly.
Because I
Exactly.
think I kind of remember that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
See, people who have a plan to be a politician for life have a stump speech, and if you follow their campaigns, they say a
Mhm.
lot of the same things
Over and over again. Yeah.
over and over again. They'll still tell you the same story every for different elections that they run for.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to really understand what they're about. You have to know what businesses they are connected to and things like that. Because I can honestly tell you the majority of people in politics have businesses associated with the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons why they in politics.
Hold on now. Can that be that's a slippery slope right there, isn't it?
Well, it ain't slippery enough to keep those people from winning. They win all over the United States of America. I mean, unless y'all think Boy Scouts and nuns and people with all these great social ideas are running the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go to any city, urban major city, there's going to be a struggle between development and the displacement of people that are already there,
Mm-hmm.
especially by leadership that is not too much concerned with the well-being of citizens.
Now let me ask you this question right here. And you can answer this question. You know how to. I don't have to tell you. You know how to answer the question.
Mhm.
Um, Kasim Reed, can he be dirty?
Not just as dirty as everyone else. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't classify him as any more dirty than any other dirty politician.
Mm-hmm.
Politicians are politicians.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do a whole bunch of name calling, but one, go look at the work.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice a lot of people disappeared from your neighborhood during a time where a lot of people were in office, certain people were in office, that should give you a clue. If you remember having conversations about why you had to leave, or maybe why you went to jail, or your time in court, and things of that nature, those are the things you have to take into consideration. What have your
Mm-hmm.
family members been through? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what about healthcare? How do they feel about making sure, we got number one, probably one of the number one trauma centers, I believe, in Grady Hospital, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yes,
sits in the city of Atlanta, right?
it does.
And how many times have they thought about closing that hospital?
Man, quite a few actually.
That never should even be up for discussion. The
Yeah, quite a
hospital
few.
should be growing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It should be growing. And,
Mm-hmm.
and, and it should be helping people. But look in the news about the things that go on around the hospital and things of that nature. What go around, if you've been to the city of Atlanta, and you know that it looks completely different than it used to look, especially downtown Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Why did that decay to a certain point? Or why were businesses leaving, and what happened? So you have to know the history of the power of that office of mayor of the city of Atlanta. Why does it seem like the mayor's office often struggled with the city council? It's because of different agendas. And that really determines which way your city development is led based on the leadership involved. Sometimes you have people that stay in office long enough to where you can see that continuity of their plans begin to develop, which is a great reason to continue to elect certain people if they show you positive progress in the area, respectful of all its citizens. That's one of the biggest things that you should be looking for. Not that everybody's going to be pleased, or to sit here and call people names. Oh, is he the most this, that, or the other? I mean, compared to what? Compared to every other mayor that has done something that you don't like? Is that, what you're really looking for? Are you looking for people with new ideas? New ideas, not just for the corporate community, but if you're improving and focusing on the corporate community, what are they doing to increase the social margin benefits of the citizens of that community? It's great to open up new housing, but can the people in that area afford it? Or did you price it out of their reach so they have to find somewhere else to live? Especially those people who are renters, for instance, and the construction of new housing. And I've talked about it before, the difference between low income housing and affordable housing is two completely different concepts and ideas, but often they're used interchangeably in the media. And it really kind of throws some people off, uh, related to what a person may be speaking of. So you have to research those issues to find out what has actually happened. In the Atlanta mayoral race, one of the dynamics is you have an individual running who has already served as a mayor before, who's actually served 2 consecutive terms as mayor. And one of the only reasons why he left that office was because of term limit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, people just have to take into consideration and know who they're voting for and their agenda. Why you should be listening. Go online and listen to these debates. Matter of fact, that's one of the things that, I believe hurts a person the most. If you've been
Mm-hmm.
in office before and you got dirt,
Mm-hmm.
everybody ain't scared of you.
Yes. Exactly.
So it's going to be important that people speak the truth. Use this social media tool about
Mm-hmm.
these mayors and things and people running for office. If you know things about them, put it out there
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
people can deal with it and know what it's about. Like I said, the city of Atlanta should remember Kasim Reed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It
mean, you
wasn't
should
all,
know
it
what it
wasn't
was
all
about.
pretty. It wasn't
You
all
know,
pretty. I can tell you that it was his run. I was here. It wasn't all
hmm
pretty. It wasn't all
and,
pretty at all.
but I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be running if he didn't think he could win, and his numbers support the fact that he could win. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why he is running to win.
Mm-hmm.
He is a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So saying that lets you know he has the support of enough people, maybe to win.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that beats a dollar is a vote.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So people better go vote. That's how you beat the dollar. Vote.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was gonna say Captain Leonard. We got Curtis with us this morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Morning, brother. What's going on, Chef, man?
What's going on with you, man? How you doing? We talking about this. We talking about this race that's going on here in Atlanta, man. We talking about this race that's going on here in Atlanta. Kasim Reed, he was the mayor for 2 terms and got out of office, and now he's going back into office again. But he got a lot of like Leonard was saying, skeletons in his closet that some people over. I think some people are really just overlooking. What do you say to that?
Well, if the people overlooking it, just
You breaking up on. Yeah, Leonard could address better now. Leonard's up on the politics. Leonard, tell us some of the things that some of the issues that Kasim has.
Well, Kasim has a history of a lot of corruption when he was in office. A lot of various investigations or what have you. You have individuals that were indicted for various things while he was in office. There was a constant struggle between the office of the mayor and the city council as well. There are a lot of people that did not care for his removal and upheaval of a lot of downtown and underground development in the city of Atlanta. Problems with him. We had an issue with him as it related to the vendors that used to be downtown in Atlanta. I believe we've protested the mayor's office on several occasions about things. But when someone says, like Raheem, of course, with his messy self, is he dirty? I don't answer the question. Is he dirty or not?
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter if he was dirty. He was the mayor for two terms, and he'll be the mayor for another 2 terms if he's elected. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a problem with Kasim Reed, you need to vote against him. Not he needs to step down or he needs to stop lying. No, that has nothing to do with it. You need to vote against him
Mm-hmm.
because it don't matter how much a person lies or anything. If they can get enough people to the polls to vote for them, they win. So sitting back talking about how dirty somebody is don't stop them from winning an election. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen that several times.
Several.
Yes.
Exactly. Curtis.
well, we know that to be true. Leonard is right. If you all don't want him as an elected official, out to the polls and don't vote for him. How you going to step down from a position that he ain't even won yet? So you're basically, most of the time, what I realize in politics is basically when they're asking somebody to step down or trying to get somebody out of the race before the ballots have gone out or whatever, what have you, it's mainly because they know that this person can actually disturb the race in some kind of way. Maybe with him on the ballot, the party itself is saying, if you stay on the ballot, you'll split the ticket. Because obviously there's a collection of people that believe in what he was trying to do. Um, the other thing is sometimes I think we as people, we be looking for these perfect candidates, and there is no candidate that's perfect. The
Mm-hmm.
game of politics is very, let's just keep it real. It's very dirty.
Yeah, very dirty.
You know what I mean? So, but he got the right to run just like anybody else. So, like Leonard said, if you don't want him to win, then you need to go out to the polls, vote, and vote against him.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think people need to start paying attention to how there's powers out here. I think people need to start paying attention to the strategics of politics as opposed to just paying attention to politics itself. because who knows? Somebody might have put him up and said, "Look, we need you to go and run because we need you to split this ticket. We need you to split this ticket, and if you run, you'll split the overall vote. You'll split this person's overall voting count because you're in the race, which means that our candidate will get the actual win." So
Mm.
there's a whole lot of strategics that go into who's going to run, at what time they're going to run. There's a whole lot of I guess you might want to call it backstory that go with it. But yeah, Leonard's right, man.
Mm-hmm. Leonard, and what do you think about and I know even before I asked the question, I know even before I asked the question how you feel about this individual. But Miss Abrams.
Mhm.
And my wife asked me last night, where's Abrams been? I hadn't heard nothing from her in a minute. What is actually going on with her? Do you have any insight?
She is still fighting and working with her organizations to secure elections. She
Mm-hmm.
is very much still involved in making sure that people understand the power of their vote. Definitely dealing with those issues related to election fraud claims and things
Mm-hmm.
of that nature, because you have to remember, no longer than you experience a win, the Georgia came right back and tried to shut it down to keep people from voting. So that's
Mm-hmm.
a constant struggle. That's what her organizations do. Her organizations fight on that front to ensure that voters have access to the polls, convenient access to the polls, any additional types of initiatives where, like the box where you could drop off, excuse me, um, the drop off boxes,
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
things like that. She works with individuals and organizations all over the country to make that happen in various elections, but particularly here in Georgia.
Okay.
And what you
Now,
could do is go get on her, subscribe to her programs so you can get those notifications if you want to keep up with Stacey Abrams is doing.
if for whatever reason she was to run again, Leonard, would you vote for her?
Of course. Of course, I would vote for her for just about any office that she ran for because she's qualified.
Mm-hmm.
She's very
That's good.
smart.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she really is one of those people that can explain everything to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she does not have a problem talking to people about that. Never has that. My experience with her is, I mean, like I said, I could listen to her for hours because she has
Mm-hmm.
that much knowledge about public administration and public policy and how important it is to get people elected. You cannot complain if you're not participating.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest issues in democracy, which is a participative government. You
Mm-hmm.
have to show up. It makes
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
difference in the world. So her organizations, like Fair Fight or what have you, are dedicated to that, to make sure that the fight for these positions of authority is fair and unencumbered by all those things that we've dealt with in our history. Poll
Mm-hmm.
taxes and all these extra requirements necessary just to disenfranchise certain people, moving polling locations 30 miles away
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature, or last minute changes to where you're supposed to vote. And those are the
Mm-hmm.
tactics that a lot of governments use to cheat in elections across the country. So
Mm-hmm.
there has to be a constant awareness of that, which I know the African American community to some point are really out of touch
Mm-hmm.
and believe that, people got you believing that votes don't count and you need to worry about money. Well, ain't no money gonna be spent unless the people in charge of the city allow you to spend it.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep your black market if that's what you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
but legal transactions done in the light requires government and all types of influence. So don't believe this notion that voting don't matter if you got some money,
Mm-hmm.
because it does matter. It does matter. It matters everywhere in our type of government. There's never been a person that has won overwhelmingly that hasn't gotten a position.
Mm-hmm.
Overwhelm your candidates. Show up. Vote against a candidate if you don't like them. It
Mm-hmm.
ain't say you in love with the other side. It
Yeah.
just say
Yeah.
I specifically don't want this joker to be mayor.
Yeah. He or she cannot win
He or
because of
that's
things.
right, and that's
Yeah.
what you should do. You should start a. Trust me, if I don't want somebody to win an election, I start a movement against them.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure every dirty secret they got is in the public, so
Mm-hmm.
people have that information. So you don't be walking around. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that they was like that. Why they been like that? Everybody else knew. You didn't know
And
because you're not involved. That's why you don't know.
mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. We got a caller from the 816 area code. 816 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good morning, Mrs. Goddess.
Good morning,
Good
Goddess. How are you this morning?
morning. Ask that person running for
Good
office.
morning.
Goddess, we talking about there's a race going on here, the mayor race going on here in Atlanta, and there was a gentleman, Kasim Reed. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but Kasim Reed, he was the mayor for 2 terms, got out of office, and now he's running for office again. But a lot of dirt is coming up. A lot of stuff that he did that would not favorable is actually coming to the forefront. Not just now, but it's always been there. And but he's running for office again, and we're having a discussion right now. How do you make sure outside of the natural obvious not voting for him, but how do you make sure that these people are not in office or don't even have an opportunity to run for office again?
Well, I heard what Leonard was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Everything Leonard was saying is absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also, having people work at the election board, that is the biggest thing. Having legitimate people work at the election board uh, is very key to knowing what's going on at the election board, election office. That's very key.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it, be some of our own people
Mm-hmm.
that do dirty stuff to get gifts or positions or whatever that end up cheating our whole community.
Mm.
I mean, I get a call. This is funny. I get a call. A couple people get a call that they won the election, the primaries,
Mm-hmm.
but turn around and find out they say that we were 100 points shy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a few of them got together and started looking into it, and I'm the one that gave them the numbers. I was like, well, how did these numbers are not matching up? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the first numbers that was posted was this amount of numbers, and now it's not, these numbers are not matching up. We'll come find out we had somebody that was running in the race that shouldn't have been on the ballot. So they opened up the machines.
Mm.
Doing how can you go up? Where's the legitimacy? I mean, I didn't understand that. How can you open up the ballot? How can you open up the machine? And then you had to get rid of all those ballots that their names was on there. So what happened to all those votes that everybody was involved in?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And see, that's another issue right there. And Curtis, what do you say about that, man? The ballot and people that's actually working at the polls. Curtis?
Yeah, I'm right here. How do I feel about what?
The ballot and people actually the people that are working at the polls, how they can make a difference.
Well, I mean, the people working at the poll workers really have the power, man. I mean, and the things that I'm saying coming down as far as legislatively on poll workers and this, that, and the third, is blatantly just it's wrong. It's wrong. The poll workers, most poll workers, I ain't gonna say all of them, but most poll workers are very, very admirable workers because they understand that their job is to is to um is to make decisions without a bias of opinion. Like they have really admirable jobs, man. Like, here it is, you want your guy to win, but your guy ain't get all the votes. I mean, it's easy for you to adjust votes, or say a vote don't count. Put a certificate on it, certified, and keep it pushing. But, you know, I think that there was a push to marginalize the poll worker because you had a entity in American politics. You want my honest opinion, man?
Yes.
What I see right now in this country is I see a bunch of Nazis. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. And they're happy. They're trying to get vindication for what they think is the return of Adolf Hitler. I mean, I was watching Joe Scarborough yesterday, and he came straight out and said what I've been saying for a long time. He said he basically said these folks that we deal with right now, which is not even a majority of a party. These folks just they voting for what? They voting for Hitler. Just listen to things. Listen to the things that's being said, how they're being said, right? And equate it to who's saying it. What time what time in American society was this guy bred in? I mean, look at who his father was. His father was a neo-Nazi. Look at who his family is, man. It's a lot of things going on that we not trying to adjust. We're not trying to address. But at the end of the day, man, you got questions. Some of these black folk ran out there and voted for that man. That man don't care nothing about y'all.
Good.
These poor white folk ran out there and voted for that man. That man don't care nothing about them.
Absolutely.
People gotta stop voting with their emotions and vote with your conscience. Vote with your pocketbook. Quit voting against your own interests.
Good deal. Good deal.
Talk about ideology. That is the most foolish thing to me in the world. Like, you know what? I can respect. I know some extremely wealthy people who are Republicans, right? Their vote against the Democrats is one thing and one thing only. I don't want to pay more taxes. So on that single issue, they vote against the Democrats because they don't want to pay more taxes. I can respect that. But to say that you want to vote against a group or a party because an election was rigged, and yet you don't want to count the overall ballots, you only want to count the ballots where you lost.
Wow.
No. And then it came back in their face. I end with this right here because I know we only got 3 minutes. It came back in their face when the Texas lieutenant governor took $1 million of his own money to put out and said, I'll pay anyone who reports voter fraud. If you know voter fraud happened in your district, I'll pay you for that report. Well, he had to pay $25,000 last Friday. Guess who he paid it to, right here?
Who was that?
A Republican poll worker. Guess who the report on voter fraud was on? A Republican casting 2 ballots.
Wow. Wow. Leonard, what are you hearing?
It's strategy by people who must win. They don't stop. Just because you think it's old news don't mean don't stop. As he was mentioning before, Hitler just didn't become president overnight, leader overnight. He
Mm-hmm.
built a following
Yeah.
over a period of time, which
Mm-hmm.
led to his success, and we know the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how it happens. If you get enough people to start hating, a hateful agenda, or like my man Kurt said, some people believe I'm voting against the Democrats because I don't want my taxes to go up. And people say, well,
Mm-hmm.
why does taxes go up when you have to explain it to them? Because wealthy people don't pay their share to begin with.
Yes.
Matter of
Exactly.
fact, they have so much money, they pay people a considerable amount of money to help them not pay
Mm-hmm.
taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say they voting against Democrats, it's because Democrats usually support programs that support people. They direct more money towards social programs with social marginal benefits. So the ideology is I'm gonna always vote against them because I'm rich and I don't want to help poor people. I'm rich
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to help certain people. I'm wealthy and I don't want certain people on a certain side of a town to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
If
Wow.
they do, let them do it, but not at my expense.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Now, my
they'll turn right back around and want your vote for a city initiative to make sure their streets are all the potholes filled. Now forget
Mhm.
potholes. We're gonna put a whole new road down. You need a
Yeah.
light, we're gonna put a whole new light at all these corners to make sure your community is lighted. Hey, what? You want cameras in the community? We're gonna put cameras up in this community. Blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. So you have to look at the agenda. People are going to behave accordingly. They're
Mm-hmm.
not going to make changes in course overnight.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person has a history or a background of helping people and doing what's right for people and being honest with people and things of that nature, they're more likely to be that way in office.
Mm-hmm.
But if you elect shady people, they're going to do shady things. And Negroes need to get off their behind believing that just because a person goes into public service, they're going in there to help the people. That's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have an agenda
Mm-hmm.
of people who support their agenda, who will spend money to make sure that their agenda is supported. You know what? We need you to go over there and disrupt that vote count. We need you to disrupt that elections board. We need you to disrupt as much as possible. And here go the fund and the resources to do it.
Mm.
That's how they're helping their candidate win. That's how
Wow.
they're supporting their agenda by doing everything they can to fight against whatever it is that's necessary, however necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even understand how you can be an adult and then still, I don't know why people lie. Yes, you do because you lie. In the
Mm-hmm.
United States for the same reason you lie to get their
Mm-hmm.
own agenda. And if you allow these people to occupy these seats this way, what do you think
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do? They're not going to do anything in your best interest. They're going to do everything in their best interest.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Wow. We're gonna switch up just a little bit, and we're gonna talk about, because this is something that came across, had them important people saying it important, but came across my desk. The adoption, and the number of people, the number of children out there, man, in our community as well, that needs a good home and needs to be adopted, and the people that want kids. But then I'm trying to figure out, why is there such a gap between people that want kids and can't have kids, and the adoption of children that need to be adopted? Why aren't these worlds coming together as they should? Because the numbers are, that the people was telling me over the weekend, man, the numbers are crazy. The amount of kids that need to be adopted.
Well, I mean, you see an increase in the amount of kids that need adopted because an increase in the number of irresponsible parents.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm,
drugs and everything are getting worse, guess what? Guess what happened to those people's kids?
mm,
They lose their kids to the system because of their drug use or going to prison or whatever it is that happens that separates them from their kids. That's why
mm-hmm.
you have an influx in individuals in the adoption system.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to think of it, there's not a majority of people whom are doing so well where they can afford to adopt a child.
Mhm.
And then you have those people who can afford it. They want a specific
Yeah.
child.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want babies that they can mold most of the time
Mhm.
themselves. Younger, much, much, much younger children
Mhm.
that they can mold and bring into their families. And then you have other foster parents who just want to be able to guide some type of, want to guide a young person that may have no guidance.
Mhm.
So, we've always had the two will never agree. There's just never going to be balanced where
Mm.
these people, everybody going to get a kid. That's not how that system works. So the system works based on the number of people who want to adopt. And because kids are so easy to make,
Mhm.
that's another issue.
Mhm. Mm.
You have people, not everybody who wants to adopt already has children. Some people already have children, but they just have enough resources to help another one, or they
Yeah.
have a desire in their heart to help another child
Mm.
along the way. You know,
Leonard, you said something, and I want to go to Curtis, and I want to go to Goddess as well about this. But you said something when a child get to be of a certain age, it minimizes greatly their ability or to be adopted.
yes,
Wow.
because you're moving into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
So if you between the ages a lot of times of 12, I think you age out of the system around 19. I'm not sure. 18, yeah, 18. It's 18. And you
Mm-hmm.
age out of that system. There are a lot of independent living and things like that they give you before that. But you're primarily an adult.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have your thoughts and opinions and things like that. So, especially if you look at this age of child development, is when you become hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Between those ages. So a lot of people are not going to be looking to adopt a child that already has certain issues. And then there are certain people who are looking for it, but more people have to get involved. You see signs still all over the place. Foster parents need it
Mm-hmm.
because that this last couple of generations have done such a disservice to parenting
Mm.
that they have put a lot of kids in the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those kids got into the system because their parents were often neglectful of them
Mm.
or got into certain situations where they lost custody of their children,
Mm-hmm.
didn't even cooperate to restore custody to them after issues that happened. There's a lot of things you have to do a lot of times to get your children back once you lose them,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're dealing with drug problems.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So the best you could usually do is, you know, a lot of times they try to place children with relatives.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know you got an issue, talk to a relative
Mm-hmm.
about taking care of your child.
Yeah.
So
It's
your
easy,
child is not completely disconnected from their family.
and that's an easier transition than actually taking them
Yes.
through. Yeah, that's such
And do
such
it
an
the legal way. Do it the legal way.
mm-hmm.
Do it the legal way. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Buck Tussle. Hickenbottom. Hickenbottom is my name.
Okay, Hickenbucker, how you doing? Good morning. How you doing this morning? Tell everybody where you calling from, Mr. Buck Tussle.
For real?
You
For
got
real? I mean, for real, I for play. I'm still from Opelousas. My name is Tucson.
mm-hmm.
Uh, that's all I can say.
That's where you're from right there, brother. But Tucson, hey, good morning. Good morning. Good to have you, man. We're talking about adoption. We're talking about adoption, man, and how
Oh, shoot.
there's so many different kids, children out there that really needs to be adopted, that needs to be adopted in this day and time. And reality of it is, when a child get to be of a certain age, say if a child get to be 13 or 14 years old, their likelihood of being adopted is decreased a lot. What do you say to that? Because there's homes well, what they want kids, why not go out there and get the kids that's available?
Well, I see a problem in society, Raheem,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that the adoption agency and foster homes, some of them are not good,
Mm-hmm.
um, but we don't have parents. We don't have no parents.
Mm.
We don't have people with parenting skills
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
to the point where they can't take care of their own kids, let alone somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a special care and love and ability to nurture people that have children that have gone most of their life or some of their lives for some reason without their biological parent.
Mm-hmm.
So they already got some issues.
Mm-hmm.
They already got some problems. They already got some hang-ups. And don't let them be sick. You got another problem.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
mental state of that child can't have a disturbed home
Mm-hmm.
that where the adult that takes them in don't have a clue
Mm-hmm.
about life, about how to deal with diversities and issues that are not normal. If you used to having your mother and father in the home, and but can't be bringing a child in the house, and you still dropping it like it's hot and letting
Mm-hmm.
it down like it's warm, and you thinking about partying, you're thinking about putting yourself on Facebook and TikTok and the way society is today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, we don't. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'm not looking at it, but for the most part, we don't have healthy households.
Mm-hmm.
Am I stupid or what?
No. No. No.
Am I missing it? If I'm seeing something that is not there, let me know
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, you got people that have kids. They parents, mamas, ladies that have their kids, and they can't deal with them.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
I mean, they baby the kids are babysitting themselves,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it's a need. It's a need. I don't. I'm gonna just say that I don't want no kids in my house. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't supposed to say that.
Yo, you weren't supposed to say that, brother. You weren't supposed to say that, brother. Let me go. Hey, Leonard. This is public citizen. Public citizen. Wrote this right here. I'll read that. Then we're gonna go. We're gonna go to Curtis, and then we're gonna go to Goddess as well on this adoption situation. What
Good
do you say?
good morning. I think classes on respect and ethics should begin from kindergarten, and by the time you get to high school, you should be learning some ideas about how to be a parent. I agree with Donald.
Any comments on that before we go to Curtis?
Most definitely. That's the biggest hindrance to adoption.
Mm-hmm.
Children are not pets.
Mm-hmm.
Children are not pets. And you got to have it together in your house first before you think about bringing somebody else in there. It's just like Donald said, responsible parenting has been missed.
Mm-hmm.
And then first of all, I got two kids of my own, and I can tell you right now, it can be overrated. So you got to have some skills. You have
Yeah.
to have a desire and be into it, not just because you got some type of wild notion that you thought it'd be cute.
Mm-hmm.
You need some skills
Yeah.
to parent these
Mm-hmm.
children because these children need help. They need guidance, and they need good guidance. You know, they need good guidance.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Tucson
Exactly.
pointed to it. They should go to good homes where
Mm-hmm.
the values are being taught, not just more of the same foolishness that they left.
a lot of times I've seen situations, and we got another caller. I'm trying to make my circle around, but I want to include the callers when they call in. But I've seen situations in the foster care community, if you will. People will say that a lot of people get these kids just because of the monetary that what they're going to get, and they don't have the kids' best interest at heart. And I don't think mm, that's
But
Go ahead.
that's a huge criticism.
Mm-hmm. It
If
is.
I would advise people, if you don't particularly know of that situation,
Mm-hmm.
why do you keep saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you keep saying that? Kids cost money. Mine costs money.
Mm-hmm.
It costs money to raise kids. That's another hindrance to adoption. People who don't have the resources. That is why the government provides the resource to assist you in making the choice to raise someone else's child.
Mm-hmm.
It's called child support
Mm.
because that's what's necessary to support a child. Yes,
Mm.
there are people that are going to abuse the system, but are you one of those people that would do that?
Mm.
Do you
Gotcha.
know of people doing that? If so, why ain't you reported it?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we talk ourselves out of solutions or we discriminate ourselves out of solutions and things like that. And we put so much negativity out there instead of putting the positive out there.
I also seen Leonard, and I want to go to the caller too. I also seen where a lot of time people will say, well, and you asked them a question, why didn't you report it? Well, I didn't, I didn't want to get in other people's business. I didn't,
I know that's about how reliable your information is.
mm-hmm. But I've seen situations where people will say that I didn't want to get in nobody else's business,
Yeah.
man. It ain't my business. And blah. Okay, well, shut up. Then
Well,
shut up.
what? Then shut up. Then shut up. If you're not gonna do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
then shut up.
Mm-hmm. Got another caller. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Rico calling from Anderson, Alabama. Grand Rising to everybody.
We got Grand Rapids Rico. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. I was held up trying to unmute, man. I messed around and just walked across the snake and was trying to take a picture of it, and you called me. So I want to snap a picture.
Man, you better kill that snake, man. He don't need to.
Okay, calling for.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Ended. Okay. Rico, what do you say? What's on your heart about this adoption situation, man? I think you've been listening to us this morning. What's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I came on for a second. I heard some of what Donald Toussaint said, and I agree with him. It's you don't have enough fit people out here to really take up the slack. You know what I'm saying? You have a few, but the ratio of fit to unfit is a big gap in between those. Then not to mention the parents that already have the children is not doing a good job. But I heard Leonard say that a second ago about speaking about the positivity and the and over over the negativity. But the negativity has to be exposed so you can put preventive measures in place, because there have been people that fell through the cracks. When I first heard about adoption and foster care, all I thought was positivity. I couldn't fathom at a young age that somebody would take children in just to abuse them. But lo and behold, you start finding out people had foster kids and start putting them in cages and pulling their fingernails off of them, torturing them, leaving them emaciated to the point of where they are 15 years old, but they look like they're sick. And so you start thinking to yourself, well, wait a minute, why did these people do this? So I worked with a guy one time, man, an upstanding guy, went to school with my father. He a hustler though. This is the thing about it. He a money maker. He was a hustler. He about that making that money. And so, amongst one of the conversations we had about flipping houses and buying them off of property taxes and stuff like that, different ways you can make money, getting zero turn lawnmower. I mean, we always talked about that. And one day he came up to me, he said, man, I didn't know you get this much money for being a foster parent. Now, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's a good mentor. He'd be a good person to be a father figure for some foster children. But it was just funny to me that was the motivation, was the incentive. That money. Now, you might have had a good heart to do it, but would you have done it for free? Some people got sisters and brothers the kids need foster care. They might not be out of the parents' home, but they still need that guidance, and they ain't stepping up. for their own nieces and nephews.
Yep, exactly.
But if the money involved, they'll go get some foster children. So I was locked up one time with a guy that got raped by 2 women, 2 different times in foster homes. He was young, very young, and over endowed for his age. And they took advantage of him. Sick, disgusting, big, nasty white women. Him and his twin brother. He thought they were going to help him. And he said every home he went into, he thought it was going to be a good thing. Until a couple of days later, when people stopped showing up, and then it turned into something different. Then they had to go back and forth and learn all these different rules of different people's homes. So it really just left them more messed up. I know we only got 3 minutes, but I just sent you a story about a situation in Harris County, Texas. They said there were 3 children found in an apartment that had been abandoned.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that
for several months.
Yep.
And they found a 9-year-old in the same apartment with him, the little brother. Had been dead for over a year.
Yep. Wow.
Parents, these weren't even foster children or their nephews or nieces. These were their own children.
I think they said they found them
going out of town working. Who knows what they were going off doing? But to abandon your own children and then have one laying in there dead for a whole year and leaving them children to deal with that and fend for themselves, man, it really, I get what Leonard is saying. But see, if you don't let people know that the negative is out there, then they can't do anything to prevent it.
Absolutely. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
That might be me, Toy with the T. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. How you doing this morning?
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good. We're talking about this adoption situation. We're talking about the adoption situation, but before you answer, Toy, let me people asking for the number 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Toy, we're talking about the adoption situation and how there's an abundance of children out there that need adopting, that need to be adopted, and there's certain individuals that have the place where they can put them. But we're talking about especially if a child get to be 13, 14 years old, their possibility of being adopted is very low. What do you say to this?
I think that is the norm, man. But for me, hey, I want all the foster kids. Give me the whole house. Give me a school. Give them all of me. I'm with it. But yeah, most people, man, humans, we selfish. We're terrible. Humans are terrible, and we get worse and worse as time goes on.
Yes,
and Rico's right. A lot of them stories about their own kids. And we wonder why we have trust issues. Not for nothing. When I hear people say, and we talked a little bit about this last week. Oh, don't be having no kids. They got kids. Things like that. Don't get it. You did it from culture. You did it because the product of what came out your Peter Wacker. We don't sincerely care about nothing that's going on anymore. We keep it moving. We know this when you see that little 9-year-old boy in a while, ain't said nothing, ain't know nothing. There's something in your heart tingling, and you want to mind my business. I don't want no problems. I don't want no trouble. We scared of everything except for when it comes to our person, our loved one. But no, this situation that we have with the foster care and adoption system, we know it stems from way back. When we was talking about the other day, calling defects and kids getting removed at home, there's no guarantee that it's going to be no better.
Yeah,
kids still want to be with their abusive parents. Kids still want to love their abusive parents that beat them, stick them in closets, make them drink applesauce through a straw and all that. They'll want it, most of them. Don't want to be separated because they don't know nothing else. But at the end of the day, that's still their parent, and they still want to be with them from again the culture of what parenthood is supposed to be and things of that nature. And Rico, right? A lot of people are racially motivated. A lot of us family members don't want to be bothered. See our nieces, nephews, and cousins and stuff going through things. Don't want to be bothered. Don't want to stand in the way and say, "Hey, you're not going to do that. You're going to do this and the third." No, we're not doing that. We don't want to. We don't feel like it. We ain't got the time. We don't got the energy. We don't have the nothing. And again, that's what has to do with the state of America. That's why we're here right now. Kids run out here to shooting up stuff all over the place because nobody cares.
Wow.
We only care about what we can do, how we can use you for our own benefit, with putting out the least bit of effort possible when it comes to returning the favor. We looking for a way to manipulate and scheme. We looking for a way to, plain and simple. And I'm just being honest, and this is what God has been showing me. If you ain't got the decency to have a God, to follow his rules and regulations, and you break his, what that mean for me? And I'm just a little pesky little human.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to I said I was gonna go to Curtis. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, everybody that's chiming in on this issue has an extremely valid point to this issue. This is my wheelhouse right here because this is what I deal with all the time. One, you have some foster parents out here who really understand what is involved in being a foster parent. Okay, and they doing some really good work, brother. I mean, they doing some really good work, and a lot of them that's doing the good work is getting these kids at all numbers of ages, and they don't figure it out. But then you have a larger percentage of those who are doing foster care specifically for the money. Because there's some good money now. But, in terms of adoption, like foster care, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost, some of the rules is kind of weird because, like, you wind up having, a female is an adult at 18, right? A male, in most cases, is not an adult until he's 21. So what you wind up having is, when you look at the two, you got a female and you got a male. Well, the male, both of them age out at the same age, 18.
Hey Curtis, before you move past that, man, explain to the audience what age out is. What exactly is that process?
Age out basically means that in the foster care system, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm pretty sharp on this one. Once you hit the age of 18, you are no longer considered a foster care child. You have to move out of your foster care home. The problem is a lot of kids are not realistically taught, okay, what happens after foster care? So, but the difference is with male and a female, when a female ages out of foster care, a female can go to other governmental services because she's considered an adult. A male can't do that because he's not legally considered an adult until he's 21. So what happens is those kids who have all those issues, especially the males, they're kind of out there on their own until they turn 21. So for 3 years, they kind of out there on their own. Now, what happens is a lot of times, if you got a good case manager, they're going to push you towards some kind of PRP or wraparound services, some type of wraparound services to provide you a greater level of sustainability and independent living. So that's what's happening. Now, in terms of the adoption, the one thing you got to understand is everybody is not going to adopt, because once you adopt, unless that kid is on some type of SSI, SSDI, pretty much all that come out of your pocket. So if you can't afford to take care of a child, adoption is not a good way to go. That's one. Two, most people, like when you guys are saying, like, you know, when a kid hit about 13, blah blah blah, there's a greater chance that they won't get adopted. That is so true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because already what happens is people in America don't want to adopt because a lot of your adoption kids have some form of trauma and or medical situations that honestly people know, like, I can't deal with that. There's no way in the world I can deal. Now you have some who will adopt those very same kids and become phenomenal parents. But it's that, and then it's the issue of, well, is the mother gonna come back and cause a bunch of problems? You know, or is the mother gonna come back? Is the state gonna allow for us to adopt this kid, but then give the mother visitation? So there's a whole lot of other paradigms per se.
Absolutely, Kirk. Gotta keep it moving, brother.
Process.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I want to read something that on my feed here. The young lady, lovely Diva, she said, and Diva, the phone number is available. You can call us 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. She said, girls are the same. My niece couldn't get housing until she was 21. Say she was homeless from, this is a different comment. Say she was homeless from 18 to 21 years old. Then she said, poor babies need more resources. Goddess, what's on your heart? Everybody, mute your line. I got some feedback coming from somebody's line. Mute your line for me. Goddess, what's on your heart? And Tucson, coming to you next.
I just want to touch on a couple of subjects real quick. All of them dealing with the same thing. First of all, aging out is a major issue. These children are not. That's one of the number one homeless situations regarding our teenage or youth homelessness. It's because of aging out. They are not getting trained. They're not getting what they need when they get out. And a lot of people don't understand. If they don't put them in college, they don't have the right caseworker to help them do what they're supposed to do, and they do have available funds to do that. Okay. Let's just put that out. So aging out is the same age for the women as well as men, but they have a caseworker who can do what they need. If they have a good caseworker. The second thing is that by them not knowing, let's just say the actual adoption process, I've been through it. At the time I had a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom home. My kids are grown out. I only have one left. You got to look at all levels of it. We're going through the program here. I know here in Kansas City, Cornerstone is taking over all the adoption process, and you got to see who works there. And it's not us. It's not many of us that work in the Cornerstone program. So when they turn around and look at, hey, when you apply to do the foster care program, they don't scrutinize they scrutinize certain people. When we was going through the classes, it's probably it was like 2 blacks. One was a black family, and then I was a single mother trying to do it. Their scrutiny is really, really weird. It ain't whether you can take care of it financially. It seemed like it would be, but it was more or less, it was harder for a single parent to take care of or do the adoption or do a foster care for it. And there's a lot of black single mothers out here that would consider doing foster care. Because if I'm taking my situation was I was already taking my daughter to track, and all they could do is be and it didn't have to be a little kid. It could be I wanted somebody about the same age. So if I'm already taking my daughter to track, I'm already doing certain things out here for her after school programs for her. That would just be beneficial for the next child. And so I wanted somebody around about the same age. But because I was a single parent, it made it even harder.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's another way of looking at things that take place. Now, let's talk about the antebellum. I don't know if anybody's seen that antebellum, but that's real life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everybody's seen that movie, but you got a lot of people that's out here that ain't for us, just taking care of our kids, that want kids to go back into slavery, baby. You better step up and be a daddy, and if you can get out here and adopt, please do.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Tucson, what's on your heart, brother?
Um, yeah, I thought about when you talk about adoption of children and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
You go into I would say, well, human trafficking
Mm-hmm.
and organ trafficking.
Yes.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have a child that okay, well, they just all of a sudden come up missing, and the lack of care
Mm-hmm.
in the agency, and they don't monitor or catch or check on us. They don't check on us.
Yeah, exactly.
They watch us very carefully, especially like God has said, a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
But what about this? I ain't gonna even say nationality. What about this couple that are well-to-do, good home, appearing to be a good home, got all the finances, but they're into sex trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
and because they are the judge or this politician or local respected people in their community, the only thing they find that after they check after the fire, and I'm just using my imagination in this
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
society that we live in. We live in a corrupt society,
Yes. Yes.
and things that go on in our neighborhood that we don't pay no attention to because
Mm-hmm.
nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
We're all doing our own thing. I
Exactly.
thought about maybe perhaps, and I'm gonna run out. I got 45 seconds left. I thought about maybe perhaps our churches need to get involved in um, helping, but
Mm-hmm.
then you got these uh, sick-minded preachers.
Mm-hmm.
I wish
Mm-hmm.
I could have a long conversation right about now,
Let's have it.
but I'll have to.
Hey, Raheem.
That
Yes.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes. Uh-huh.
God has said something that the local municipalities and cities across America is really, I almost hate to say it like this, might cost me to lose my job, but it's really
Okay.
covering up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
We ride down the street and we see homeless folk, standing on the corner asking for a couple dollars, this, that, and the third. The image of the homeless is always painted like this old man or woman, you know what I mean, an adult, man or woman, um, you know what I'm saying, alcoholic, blah, 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 blah. But I'm gonna tell you what the major crisis is countrywide. The larger percentage of your homeless is actually youth ages 18 to 24.
Mm-hmm.
And these cities are not admitting the homeless numbers in that population.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm looking at it specifically because I'm the case manager that get them housing. And then to even make the dilemma even more of a dilemma, a bunch of the property managers with no oversight by HUD or by the government. These property managers are going around the discriminatory rules, right, to make it look like they're not discriminating. However, their practice is straight discriminatory. I just had a serious talk with a young property manager, and by the time I got off the phone, she quit.
Wow.
She was asking one of my female clients who was 18 years old, Rami. 18 years old. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not going to qualify because our criteria says that you must make 3 times the monthly rent per month. So I had to say to her, lady, now I know you knew with this, and I don't want you to think I'm angry at you, but I think you really need to reevaluate your company's criteria. She says, well, what do you mean? I said, because lady, if this client made 3 times the monthly rent, and the monthly rent is $1,200 a month, she would not be sitting in front of you with a housing voucher.
Exactly.
Okay. That's more than what I make per month as far as my regular, my job, not my retirement, but my job. 3 times, that's $3,600 a month.
Yeah.
If you just go 10 months, that's what, $36,000 a year? That's above the poverty level. So that is a criteria that's being set that our clients can't meet.
Exactly.
But here's the flip side. The cities all around is just throwing vouchers out there. Throwing vouchers, because HUD is saying, you know what? The folks in charge before wasn't putting us to work. So now we got all this money because they was trying to hold on to the money because they was going to steal it, right? So now we gotta send out emergencies.
Exactly.
But nobody's talking to the local. Nobody's talking to the local owners, saying, okay, look, we got a whole bunch of these emergency vouchers coming out.
Absolutely.
Issuing out vouchers because we have a problem with the 18 to 24-year-old population.
Good deal.
So whatever your criteria is, it needs to be adjusted, or can you please adjust it, because we need to get these folks off the street.
Good deal. Hold right there, Curtis. Hold right there, brother. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I was thinking about what Donald said, because I was going to head in that direction, man. I mean, those are some of the issues that are hidden that most people don't really pay attention to, and it has to be addressed. We live in a society, like Donald said, it's very corrupt, and you have opportunistic people that will utilize the role of a hero, but have ulterior motives, sinister motives.
Yes.
God was saying that about the single women, and that sounds great. But the flip side of that, because we have 3 besides animals, babies, women, and elderly are the most vulnerable people on this planet, especially when it comes to men or when it comes to evil. They are the most vulnerable people. And so these organizations that are built to protect some of these people, they have outdated guidelines. But society has evolved so much, and we have so many heroes that are in disguise that people will utilize these good systems to have their agendas accomplished. Like, say, for instance, what she was saying with the single woman. That would be awesome. But in today's time, we also know that some of these women would be going to get some of these children so they could groom them to be their sex slaves.
Oh, wow.
They'll be looking for companionship. We got men that will adopt little boys. I always felt uncomfortable about 2 men adopting a little boy. But then you start seeing how many children need adopting. You be like, well, you know what? Somebody is better than nothing. But see, some of them men ain't got the right intention. Some of them men want little boys to play with.
Wow.
You got some women like Charlize Theron and Angelina Jolie They like to get little boys and put dresses on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have so many different things. So you have these some of the guidelines put in place are to protect the children. And so it's understandable that it will be hard, all the red tape that you got to go through to adopt a child. But along with what God is saying, sometimes that's manipulated. Curtis is saying it too. It's still manipulated. It's not foolproof. It still leaves a lot of people vulnerable. It leaves a lot of room for people to take advantage of it and get away with sinister things, deviant behaviors. So, you know, when you start talking about children that were adopted and now they're missing, children that were put up for foster care and now don't nobody know where they are, not only foster children, but some of these children are going through that from their own birthright parents. These are things that are that have to be addressed. And like I said, they have to have preventive measures put in place to sort of prevent that from happening, because once a child gets into these people's homes, they are subject to the will of those people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's nobody there to monitor them 24/7 to make sure that this church going person ain't treating these little boys like altar boys.
Right. Wow. Toya with a T, talk to me. Let it come to you next.
No, that's so true, man. Because you know the thing about the abusers, we can go at the murderers, but to not look different. We got different levels, and we all know it's real. You know, we've been talking about it for years. This is not nothing different. We know what we've been through as a people with these types of situations, and we refuse to believe or acknowledge the fact that it's still going on everywhere. You know, and again, I always try to say we have to remember that this is a human situation. We can't put it off on, the government people to this, the government people that. No, it's we the people that stand up for it. It's we the people that get in our own little industries and feel like it's okay to do whatever for the love of money, or to allow whatever sickness infiltrate your head and you operate outside of guidelines. That's normal. But at the end of the day, we don't understand, you know, the doors that you open when dealing with these kids.
Yes.
And doing evil and wicked things to them. But they're devils. But these are real situations. These are real situations that we're now starting to notice that are real. Not only in the homes of their own parents. Some people have been stolen. That we think it's their own parents. Some people, you walking right past people every day that was kidnapped or brainwashed or whatever, you know, into being with someone that's abusive. But we talk about it all the time in the culture. We're beating our kids.
Yes. Wow.
You know, with oh well, you don't want to do what I say do the way I say do it, then I'm going to beat you. And then think that just because you took it like that, that everybody else that's in human skin is going to take it and do it and handle with it and deal with it the way that you did. But no, like fingerprints, we're all different.
Exactly.
You know, it touched my heart just now to hear that there's a niece or relative of mine to be homeless. That's not going to happen with me.
Yeah.
They know they will come here. And that's what we're missing. We're going above and beyond, you know. But then people say, oh, well, they have these kind of issues, or they have that kind of issues. And I'm not going to deal with these kind of issues and this and third. Well, look here, let me tell you something. You come, and I'm still going to tell you I'm going to run and rule the house. So ain't no kid going to come rule me. So I don't understand when people be talking about, oh, well, you know, you deal with this person, you deal with that person, and oh, these kids these days, they'll kill you. Well, I'm an adult. I'm going to kill you first. What the world? What? Ain't no what?
Wow.
Be scared of a child. No, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to make sure that they're taken care of. And for those that want it, it's open. But for those kids that don't want to deal with that, because I was one of those kids, because I was molested and abused, I didn't want to listen to authority. And if I came around the structure and authority, I bucked the system and made people not want to be bothered with you. But heck, even adults do that. But seriously, as humans, we really need to evaluate what our individual cultures are, because some of them are weird, like putting dresses on boys. That's a no-go.
Exactly. Leonard, I know I said I was gonna come to you, but we got a caller. Let me jump on this call, and I'll be right back to you, Leonard. That's okay. Caller, what's your name?
You're fine.
Huh?
That's fine.
Okay. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Cassandra calling from Atlanta.
Cassandra. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're talking about adoption and the amount of kids that actually needs a good home. And a lot of people actually have the ability to bring these kids into the folds, and but sometimes it's not for the right reasons. And sometimes when a child get to be of a certain age, 13, 14, the possibility of them being adopted is minimized greatly. Cassandra, what do you say to that? This whole adoption situation.
Yeah. Are you talking about foster care or actual adoption?
Either,
Or are you talking about both?
well, we're talking about a little bit
Because
of
you have
both.
a lot in the system that are for foster care,
Mm-hmm.
and the object is to try to have them adopted. So,
Yes. Yeah, we're talking about a little bit of both,
okay,
actually, a little bit of both, basically.
okay. Okay, I think that adoption is important. Our community, we have the highest rate of kids in foster care waiting to be adopted, the Black community. And I work with the foster care program. I think you might know that here in Georgia. And I'm certified to be a foster care parent. So it's really hard as the child gets older because nobody, like, when I told them I wanted kids 12 and up, they were like, oh my God, yes, that's what we need because no one wants the kids that are 12 and up.
Yes.
So imagine how that makes, a child feel when they're getting older and they haven't been adopted out yet. So I think that the program and then what this is crazy that we're talking about this because I just got through watching a video like 10 minutes ago where a white guy had adopted him and his wife had adopted a Black child, and some people were um like upset with them about that, and they were like, he needed a home.
Yes.
We know that he needed a home. He's a baby. And he was like, we did what we thought was right for our family. We adopted a Black child and we love him. And we're asking the Black community, you're saying we can't raise him as a Black man? Help us raise him. I
Yes.
mean, that's like a
Yes.
mother raising children without a man in the house. It's the same concept as far as I'm concerned. Somebody needs to help them, help her with a male presence. So that's I don't know. That's just my point of view. Let the kids be adopted. As
Exactly.
long as it's a good home, that's all I care about.
Now, somebody brought something to the conversation a few minutes ago about two men adopting a child or two women adopting a child. Cassandra, how do you feel about that?
Okay, it's happening all the time. I have my feelings about certain things, and I'm gonna keep that's my private feelings
Yes,
about it.
absolutely.
But I feel like people. I want kids to be loved. Whoever's going to love on them, I don't really care. I don't want to get into male, female thing. I just want to say, if somebody's going to really love a child and raise that child, that's what I care about. That's just me.
Okay.
Everybody got their own thing. That's just
Absolutely.
me.
Absolutely.
Because, and let me say this, and I'm just going to throw this out there. Elton John and his partner adopted two children. Those boys are not gay. They're dating girls. So we can judge, but I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, exactly. 508-924-3521. The number is 508-924-3521. Give us a call. 508-924-3521. Captain Leonard, talk to me. What's on your heart, brother?
Everybody has valid points, but definitely stay solution oriented because one, it will always be an issue as long as you have people that neglect their children. You have to understand foster home placement is much different than adoption. A lot of different rules. If you really believe that there's such a suspicion of so much wrongdoing, I would advise folks to get in touch with your local CASA program and become a corner appointed special advocate It's absolutely free, and that way you can go and check on foster homes and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's absolutely free, and they always need people.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So basically, what you're saying is either do something or shut up.
Basically, one, you should be solution oriented. If
Mm-hmm.
there is a problem that you can lend your assistance to, that's
Mm-hmm.
what you should do. But if your lending to the situation is just criticism, you're
Mm-hmm.
being no help at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I couldn't criticize a lot of things, so I went and got involved with a program that
Mm-hmm.
helps me reach out to these children in that particular way.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, they sent me another notice that they still need more help in that area. So I hope to become more active once again with the program because
Mm-hmm.
it does exactly what you all are worried about. There are
Yes.
programs that you can participate in
Mm-hmm.
to help minimize sexual abuse and all these other ulterior motives that
Mm-hmm.
go on that you know of in
Yeah,
these foster home situations. Become a court appointed special
yeah,
advocate in your county, which gives you all the support and pretty much all of the authority that a social worker would have to
Mm-hmm.
go in and bring your report and hand it directly to the judge in the best interest of that child.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good. That's good. And this actually this was not a topic for today. This was not a topic for today, but it's so, man. We're putting so much information out there. I really don't want to go away from it. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Bishop.
Good morning. This is Bishop.
Go ahead. Say it, Leonard.
The good Bishop Gregory Allen.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, bless, brother.
Hey, we're talking about adoption and foster care as well. But we're talking about there's a huge number of kids that need to be adopted. We're talking about how sometimes it doesn't go according to plans, and sometimes when a child gets to be about 13 or older, their possibility of being adopted is minimized. And how do you feel about if you want to throw this in your comment as well, man on man adopting and or female on female adopting, does it make a difference? What's on your heart, Bishop? Talk to me.
Well, you're talking about there's this thing being aged out of foster care.
Yes.
And I look at it, if you want to adopt, you adopt in spite of the age or regardless of the age of the individual child.
Mm-hmm.
They're still looking for a father and mother, someone to bring them up to the best of their ability as a family. Teach them what love is all about, a family. Uh, you asked the question leading over to same-sex relationship adopting, and let's be honest about it. My principles on uh, same-sex relationship is my principles,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not talking about my principles. We're talking about an issue that this man or these lovers decide that they want to adopt someone and raise them as their child or children. I don't see anything wrong with it. Because again, these children want love. It's not that they should push their manner of living off on the children. They want a family.
amen,
Mm-hmm.
They
amen.
know they can't recreate. So what are they going to do? Well, this child is in foster care. This child, is up for adoption. I want it, and they raise them and they train them up to be good, productive citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to sit back here and talk about the system, and then we got somebody trying to help the system, and then I'm going to condemn them. I'm not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Amen.
Listen at the cheerleading corner over there. Listen at the cheerleading corner over there. Cassandra, that's you?
hey,
Yep,
right.
that's me. Because a lot of people, everybody, see, my thing is, really quickly, and Bishop, thank you for that. What I believe is what I believe. Whether I agree with their lifestyle, that's a whole different thing. But when it comes to them, if they want to raise a child, and most of these people raise great kids. I know some. They raise great kids that are not gay, period,
Mm-hmm.
point blank. And they don't encourage them to be gay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's everybody's own thing. You can believe what you want to believe, but these kids need to be adopted and they need to be loved. That's just my personal opinion.
Wow. Curtis, you wanted to say
Can I
something?
get in right quick?
Yes, sir.
I agree with what she said and what Gunnar said. If you have a passion for something like this, and they have an organization out there where you can be the watchdog, that's what I want to call it, a watchdog. Someone that goes in and monitors these homes, because the thing is that this life we live in, it's a 50-50 chance that anything can happen. Some of those people might be great parents. Some of them might have bad motives. But if you can go in and put your eyes in that home to find out and sort of get a feel for what's going on, talk to these children, then it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, personally, that was something I was uncomfortable with. But then after you started looking at the bigger picture of who really needed it, see, I don't need to be adopted. So how I feel about 2 million adopted children, it's just an opinion. But to the children that need to be adopted, they're going to think to themselves, man, I don't care if it's 2 million or not. Just give me a home with a bed in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody that's going to throw me a birthday party. So I like that Leonard said, because he put it out there for people to be able to go and get involved in situations like this if they want to be pretty much a person that makes sure that these people are protected, that no one is being violated. So I think it's awesome that he brought that up.
That's good. Curtis, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I did, Rodney. Given the situation and the circumstances, what I find is nobody is really setting up programming that truly perpetuates life after foster care and or adoption. If the adopted parents don't set that up and don't push in that direction, it doesn't happen. The idea that people feel a certain type of way because whites adopt blacks or blacks adopt whites and gays, homosexuals adopt children. You know what? Either crap or get off the toilet. Go get, my saying, go get in a clown car. Because at the end of the day, these kids need help. Now, I'm just going to throw something out here. I know Bishop's on the phone. Cassandra's on the phone. The Queen out of Missouri's on the phone. If you all get a chance, and you hear Leonard, and I know Leonard probably know it front to back. If you all get a chance, when you get a chance, read your HABC. Yours would be HAGA handbook, right? And in that handbook, it says that's the housing authority. I know for here it's the housing authority of Baltimore City. Down there might be the housing authority for Atlanta, Georgia, right? If you read in the handbook, when these kids, all it takes is for somebody to put them in the HMIS system. If they're homeless, all it takes is for somebody to put them in the HMIS system, right? That's the Homeless Management Information Systems. If you put them in, I can see them. When I go in, I can enter the information, boom, it pops up, and I can see exactly what program they're in, what services they receive, and so forth and so on, right? But once they get issued a voucher, what is happening is they get issued this voucher and there's no programming to take them to the next level. So it's either they have sustainable housing by receiving a voucher, or they don't have sustainable housing because there's nothing set up that perpetuates or that promotes sustainable living, getting a greater education. You know what I mean? All of those things. At the end of the day, all of those things cost money. The money is there, but you got these municipalities that's just sitting on the money, bro. They not issuing the money out properly, and if they are, it's going to the highest brackets in the company with it itself. So they using these grant monies to pay salaries as opposed to them going towards the kids. However, I'm just going to end with this. Right now, me and a host of friends of mine are trying to set up a conglomerate that take young adults from homelessness to homeowner. Why? Because if you read in that book, in that brochure, The housing authority has a program, has a HUD program that will help you purchase your home. They will pay in the state of Maryland, in the city of Baltimore. They will help you pay up to 15 years of your mortgage. You understand?
Yes.
But people get the voucher and they go in, they get the voucher and they stay stuck right there.
Wow.
But it's because there's no real programming that moves them through the process of being able to sustain themselves for long periods of time.
Gotcha.
So it's like we done got addicted to governing crisis to crisis. There's no preventative or preemptive measures to governing a situation that you see down the road. So I applaud everybody in their efforts and their opinions. But y'all, I'm seeing it every day, and it's a mess. It's really a mess.
Good
and
deal.
If we could come together and set some things up, I'm telling y'all, it is so much grant money out there. Lastly, Raheem, do you know the city of Baltimore just historically got awarded $641 million that must go out, not to big companies, but to small startups to provide housing. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
That's right. You're right. You're right on that because I was on all those meetings. So that's completely right. So, and then if you do that program, then you got to do the wraparound services, and I have a program for the wraparound services. I already have everything written up on that part.
It's so much going on. It's so much going on in regards to this adoption and the homeless situation that's in our society, man. That a lot of people are really not addressing. Toya, you want to talk to me, sis? What's on your heart?
Yeah, no. I'm just so rude, but we just like hearing ourselves talk. We've been at systems that don't never get to us. I'm out here on the streets with these people, and it's real out here on these streets. The same issues we talk about exist for these kids in foster homes and group homes, and people ain't right. But at the end of the day, because of all we just said, we all just need to be quiet and not worry about it, because it's okay when I get into a home, and I'm gonna use a situation. When I go to my sex trafficker willingly, voluntarily, and leave my parents, does that mean that the life that my abuser has provided for me was better than the one I live with my own family? See, it's so much that goes on when you're young, when you've been abused by your own, or when situations happen. And at the end of the day, we really don't care. We really just be talking. We like to come up with these grand ideas and grand comments and suggestions for the sake of conversation, not for the sake of really doing things. And let me give you a couple examples. I messed up when I beat that boy upside his head with that bat and got to tell me because I can't handle 4 kids. I can't die. Don't mean I wouldn't be a good parent. Number 2, there's a lot of parents out here that got the capabilities that get these kids, but I don't want to see no 14-year-old in a teeny tiny dress because you think it's okay. You understand me? I want people that's gonna love these kids and be real. And if you happen to be gay and you adopt or take on kids, my problem is that you're being good to them, not putting a boy in a dress because you think it's okay. Not putting a girl in a situation to be groomed as a boy when it's a girl. That's my issue, the abuse part. Whether you, the real parent, the cousin, the brother, the sister, the aunt, the uncle, the problem is that the people in these systems are corrupt. It's not just about government. We are terrible in our schools, in our stores, in our locations. And if we were so good, the kid ain't got to have a special program because everybody in the neighborhood gonna make sure that kid know and got what it needs. And we still keep going back to a system that's broken and that was started off against us. No, it's up to us. If you see a knucklehead, you can be not grabbing a knucklehead by a collar. And we know they don't know it. So if we not constantly walking, talking, and training these kids on a regular basis, where you are, where you stand, we're going to keep running in the same cycle. The programs don't work. They ain't never got the funding when you call them. We can never get help. It's thousands and millions of people that need this programming and funding, and there's thousands of programming and funding that are out there, and people are not doing the right thing because by law, when you got a nonprofit, oh, I only got to give 30%. So I made $1 million on it, but I only got to give 30% of the million, and it disappeared. And people do wrong things with the money, so we don't get it. So please, let's stop talking about things like, let's talk about what's real that we see before our eyes. And they're getting abused. The majority is not being taken care of. And just because we experience something right here where we are, right around you, and you ain't never experienced it before, doesn't mean that it's not happening in abundance outwardly. There's a lot going on out here with people everywhere in every county, every community that's not right, and we know it.
Absolutely.
And these ideas and questions we've been talking about has been there. They're not working, and now we have to take the control back and fix the problem and just stop talking about it.
Good deal, good deal. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, well, there's so much that we're talking about, and I think is important. We just need to find a way to start kicking cans. We like kicking cans. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
We don't pick up the situation and grab it by the horns and deal with it. We talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. And that's from every, we see problems in our community. We see problems even in, I'm talking about from where I am. Even with these self-righteous people that, yeah, I don't care how a person lives, but you don't inflict your state of mind on children. So if I don't care if it's 3 men, if they are willing to nurture a child, a boy to be a boy and a girl to be a girl, I don't care what they do. The problem is that we live in a society that there are certain groups that feel like if you say something against their state of thinking, that you're throwing out bashes or you're hating them or something to that effect. But you can't address the society, the problem in society, because we live in a society that I don't really know. We just want everybody to think like us.
Wow.
So
wow.
if I don't really have a problem. It's just what's good for a child. But when you say, okay, I'll take the child in, but I'm a pass, right? I'm a pass.
Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, brother. It's a lot going on. Bishop, what's on your heart?
Man, I'm listening to all this wonderful information and the concerns as it really relates. And this is a great topic. I was anticipating the other topic that you posted. I was going to, comment on, but I think we do need to talk about this. And we get to the point where we judge so much. I was reading this morning my daily meditation on Matthew the 7th chapter, and it clearly says, "Judge not, lest you be judged. What measuring me shall be measured unto you." And I take that, to heart, because I'm not going to try here and judge someone who's trying to help raise a child, in spite of their circumstances, situation, relationship-wise, sexual orientation or preference. That's them. That's them. I'm he this and she that, and they shouldn't do this. But what you doing? Where are you?
Amen.
That's good. That's good.
Don't get on the sideline and try to, do your condemnations of others who's trying to do something and change some things around, whether it be from a young girl who got pregnant and tossing in her mind, should I abort the child or should I bring life to the child, but I don't want to raise it. You got a lot of parents that have walked away from their children because they're addiction problems. Now the children don't know what it's like. And then you put them into some of these other facilities that
just feed them and house them until somebody come and get them, or they age out of foster care. So I said, as a part of the clergy, I don't just sit there and condemn everything that everybody do. And because they do it, don't mean I have to do it.
Come on.
But what I'm looking at is a bigger picture. And that's what we have to look at, the bigger picture. Sometimes we're so closed-minded and narrow in sight and vision and understanding that we're ready to condemn everybody and send them to hell. And that's what irks me sometimes in the church. You're going to hell. And they try to scare religion into folks. They try to scare love into the folks. Man, love comes from the heart. If you ain't got it in you, then you ain't going to give it out.
Exactly.
So when I see people doing stuff to help folks, man, especially these children, and to me, that's the greatest love that somebody can do and demonstrate.
That's good.
So, you ask, I give. I appreciate everybody, man. I appreciate Leonard and Donald, and we got to give another title to Donald. You call it Tucson, and I'm like, Leonard called me the good bishop. I think we need to call Donald, the good Donald.
The good Donald. Boy, you put something in that one. Got you. Look here, we're gonna go to Cassandra, and Rico will be on standby. We're coming to you next. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, and I'm going to say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I've never been just a talker. I've always been a doer. So I'm one of those people that's why I work with foster care programs and certified. That's why I work with mental health and certified, domestic violence certified. So I don't talk it, I walk it. Every day I walk it. So there are those of us that are not just talking about doing something, we're actually doing it. And I happen to be one of those people. My sister, I think she's in Missouri, that was talking about wraparound.
Yes,
Let me tell you, that right there ain't no joke. If she's running a program, she's doing the darn thing. There are those of us out here, Leonard, we're doing the work. We ain't talking, we're doing it. And we're encouraging other people to do it. That's why I talk so much about the things that I do, because I want someone else to say, you know what, if she's doing that and she's sick and got all these other things going on, maybe I can do something. And this is my statement, and I'm going to end with this. No one can do everything, but everyone can do something.
That's good. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call, 508-924-3521. Rico, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, I agree with Cassandra. I think people gonna work at the way that they work best. You got to do what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? Some people are good at just making people aware of issues that they may not be paying attention to. That's better than not being aware. At least hearing somebody tell you something to make you aware of issues that's going on that some don't know about. Or maybe they just ain't paying attention to them because they're too busy living their best lives. So it's time for them to pay attention to it. Maybe they may be an asset in that situation that you're making them aware of. So, I mean, when it comes to this, the last thing we need to do is get divisive about what other people are doing. I get exactly what Cassandra is saying. And, to me, I'm going to go back to what Leonard said earlier. Solution oriented.
Yes.
Cause and effect. You see, the situation gets better when the root that causes the situation starts ending. So when you start talking about adoption, children, because children ain't nobody more vulnerable than a child. When you start talking about adoption and foster care, you got to start talking about what caused this system, this situation, this predicament. And it all comes from a root of sexual immorality or abuse of sexual action. Some people are raped. Then some people giving up children just because they've been out here having sex and doing things and living wrong. So you start asking yourself, why does this element exist? Why does adoption or foster care even exist? These children came from human beings. What happened to those human beings and their siblings and their parents and everybody else that know these human beings that gave birth to these vulnerable babies and children and decided, I don't want them. Well, we don't want them either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an indictment on society. I'm going through a situation with my son. My son has been taken out of his mom's home a couple of times. Then nobody let me know nothing.
Wow.
Not one thing. I've been trying to find him, been trying to reach out to him. And so the main person, which is my son's grandmother, that says, you know, okay, they need the dad in their life, still refuse to reach out to me.
Mm.
So now it is when they find my son running around outside, I just found this out like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, that this even happened. That my son was outside in 40-degree weather, barefoot with a tank top and shorts on.
Good Lord.
And the caseworker, his caseworker just happened to be riding by and saw him outside. And they said, you know what? Now I got a CD full of the cases and where they was giving her good feedback. But today they couldn't get no good feedback. And they've been doing a lot of lying for her, but today she had to put her foot down.
Mm-hmm.
Call your mama and tell her to come get these kids now. Mm-hmm. So, but then this is the funny part. Like I said, nobody ever let me know anything, and they know I want to see my son. I see on one of the reports where when they were living with with his mother's sister in Orlando, they gonna left Jacksonville, Florida, and went to Orlando. And the sister, my son's aunt, made a report that her mother, her and her sister's mom, wasn't helping the way she was supposed to. Her sister, my son's mother, wasn't helping out the way she was supposed to, according to the guidelines she had to follow. And then on top of that, her mom said, you ought to just let the state get her to teach her a lesson.
Mm.
So you rather let the state get my son instead of calling me, let me know because you're too proud. You don't want to lose to me. You know, somehow some people come up with this competition. So it's an indictment on society because there's a lot of that going on and children being caught up in the middle of custody, adoption, and foster care because of the adults. Mm-hmm. The reason why it even exists is because people out here having sex and raping people, abusing their children, having babies by their own daughters, and they have to give up these children. When really and truly society just really put sexuality and start practicing chastity a little bit more. The root of this problem comes from the way the way people are treating sex.
Absolutely.
Abusing sexuality. Mm-hmm. So if they actually just started getting a little bit morality about themselves, then the adoption and foster care thing would slow down. Now, we ain't going to never stop rape. But at the same time, all of these children that are in adoption in the foster care systems aren't children of rape. Some of them are just children from parents that don't care and families that don't care.
Mm-hmm. Good deal. God is.
Well, let me just tell you as a father. Because my best friend is an attorney. And that's what he specializes in. You have every right to step up as a father and get you an attorney and take your child, especially if she's already had several different occasions with the system. So that means you have every right to go in the system and take your child. They have documentation.
Once again, it sounds easy, and I'm in that situation. And I just had a mediation, and she didn't show up. And I got to have her served, and she's been hiding, and I don't have an address to get her served. So once we go to court and she don't show up, I'm still left in the dark. Mm-hmm. I don't even know where she lives to have her served. So yeah, there is a system that you can follow, but then when people are finding ways to fight that system, to defy it, then sometimes the system don't even work.
I'm trying to explain to you. If she doesn't have an address that's on file and she's getting all the information like food stamps, all that information, and she's not living at that particular address, you serve it to that address. Whatever address she has on file, you serve it to that address. Because that's the address that she's saying that she's getting all this food stamps, she's getting all the recipients, she's getting all this information.
Yes.
And then if she does not, and then she also, if she's already in the system, she has to show where she's standing.
Yeah. Rico, baby, thank you. That's great information, sis, that you just gave him. My friend is standing here with me. She's an attorney, and let me let her say what she just said, Rico, that might can help. Sis, that was great information, though.
That's definitely a good start. Rico, but also you can get a publication, an order from the court, and you'll run it 1 week for 4 weeks. And,
Right.
She doesn't respond to that, then you'll have her properly served.
Even without an address?
Yes.
Just run it in
You run it in the paper in the county where you last knew she was. And it doesn't matter if she's, It doesn't matter if she's not there anymore. You did the publication. So you would have done your part, and that's considered you serving her. So I just wanted, because Cynthia is an attorney, I just wanted her to let you hear that.
Yeah, I need to get some more information from her out for the show because I don't want to take up his time. But if you can, text Raheem her telephone number or something, I got it. And I'll call as soon as he gets it out.
I got it already.
Okay. You got your number. Can he call you?
It's funny that came out because that's now becoming an issue, and or a resolution, citywide. Because I just heard of 2 or 3 people up here being served at their last known resource address, meaning like if they was getting food stamps or if they was getting, public assistance, any kind of public assistance like TANF, SNAP, any of that. If you can have that certified letter and or have the sheriff serve that there or mail it there, due to COVID and all this stuff, that is considered the person being served because like baby girl out of Missouri said, that is the address that lists that the service providers have listed for their last known address. So like if she was getting a new EBT card, that EBT card is going to that address. So if she's spending money on the EBT and they sent her a new card, then there's a record that, hold on, not only did you get a new card, but obviously you picked it up because you've been spending money on it. So why weren't you served when this letter came? So, you know what I mean? That is something that's happening now in today's age, as opposed to, I remember exactly what you talked about, Rick, when it used to be a time where, okay, if you couldn't track them down, they could just keep running. I took care of 1, 2, 3, I want to say 5 or 6 young ladies who their mamas was inconsistent. So they was moving not only from one location in the city to another, but they was moving from city to city. Mm-hmm. So they could never track down their mama to get even the basic essentials like their birth certificates, their ID cards. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of the mamas getting food stamps and or a check for the child. Or very few instances is the daddy, but the mama's getting a supplemental income for the child, this, that, and the third, but the child don't know about it. Child has absolutely no clue. They wind up in my office, and now we applying for services, and they finding out that no, you can't get services because you're on, for example, I can't get you a voucher because you're on your mother's voucher.
Absolutely.
Your mother is getting this and your mother's getting that. And they like, hold on, I'm homeless. I'm poor. You know what I mean? But I do gotta say this, Raheem. I've been in this business for 25 years. I have a total of almost probably right at about 150 kids that ain't mine, that are my extended family. It is people out here putting the work in constantly, daily, putting ourselves in harm's way because this population is so frivolous about how they maneuver. They living in a mindset of survival. They're not living in a mindset of living life.
Mm-hmm. Good
so
deal.
We're constantly in harm's way.
Absolutely.
But until we as a group
wrap it up, Curtis,
move beyond. Never mind. Never mind.
Go ahead. Finish your thought, brother.
I'll say my thought.
No, finish your thought.
Until we move beyond the process of what is immediately available, we're going to continue to have these problems with homelessness, with foster care, with treatment foster care, residential facilities, group homes, the whole nine, until we move beyond what is immediately available. And the only way we're going to do that is, guess what? Sometimes we got to revisit the history for which we came from. But that's where the answers lie. You see what I'm saying? That's how King and them was able to get the voters' rights legislation passed and the civil rights legislation passed, because they saw beyond just walking in here and getting it passed. They had to utilize what would happen after, if it was passed, for the president to even buy in.
Good deal.
So
gotta keep it moving,
things
Kurt.
out there available.
Gotta keep it moving, brother. Okay. Hold on. Leonard, what's on your heart? What's on your heart, brother?
Well, I think all the information people are providing is very helpful. And I encourage people also, as we mentioned before, if you're interested in foster care or adopting or what have you, at least get information about it. And if you ever thought about it before, at least go look at the information. There are other things in between that can be done if you don't want to go all the way to adoption. You may just want to be a foster care parent, or you may want to be a mentor in the program. When we talk about aging out, you need to vote for people who believe in those programs. In Georgia, they have programs where I would try to get young people who are aging out of the system. You could go to a school, you go to college, and they have resources for that. Usually right before they start aging out, they try to keep them enrolled in some type of independent living courses that teaches them budgeting and things of that nature. And we have to realize this is when you become an adult. And how you get there could be various ways. But what these kids need is that support to accomplish things. So as an advocate, what I do is try to find out, what is it that they're trying to accomplish? What do you want out of life? Where do you see yourself 4 or 5 years from now? Here's a program that I think would be interesting. Well, I don't want to do this and I don't want to do that. Okay, it's still your choice. But here is what is available. All children don't choose those opportunities.
Yes.
Even at that point, even coming out of the system with the great things that they have, like I know one thing here in Georgia, if you go to school, they'll stay on campus and things like that. They'll take care of you. Still, further in the program. But you would be surprised. All kids don't want that choice. There are some that choose to go into want to go into the military, for instance. There are things that they choose other work programs and things like that available. But definitely understand that the people that you have on the line, they do this for a living.
Yes. Yes.
They are aware of these programs. They do everything they can to help them out. I can't sit back and think about the wrong that people do and make myself impotent from doing anything. Because say for instance, if I take on a client, for instance, that has issues, I try to find out the opportunities and things like that available and what they can do about them. Vetting whether or not organizations assist certain people with issues. There's a protocol for that as well before we even provide a referral, especially if we have a relationship with the referral that we're providing. So, we have to figure out ways to resolve our issues. And what we know does not help is shutting these programs down, which people want to do. We know that taking funds away from these programs don't help. We know that those things that don't work. So now what we have to do is, like you say, if your issue is oversight, you can join a CASA program. If you're more hands-on or you want to actually become a social worker, they always need social workers.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a place that has too many social workers. So, a lot of people that want to get into that, look into that. If you have a desire to really help children and do things of that nature, pick how you want to fight. against these issues, against the bad guys. But
Exactly.
one reason why I don't generalize is because then that breeds hopelessness. So kids have hope. Kids can become anything. Kids can become anything they want. They just have to have proper support, and they have to be facilitated by people who want what's best for them. So, shout out to those guys and the social workers and things like that for the least amount of money. They're working hard with these children. Like Curtis said, these ain't just folks at the job. This is extended family now because he's built that relationship with each and every one of them and has, in effect, become almost a caregiver.
Absolutely.
They look to him for that. So there are a lot of people out there with good hearts, with good intentions, and we need to make sure that we match these people with services and opportunities available to resolve these types of issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Toussaint, you wanted to say something, Brother Bishop, coming to you next.
Yeah, just right quick. There are, let me just, if we're not, I am not discrediting anybody for their personal preferences, especially in a companionship when it comes to sexual preferences. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
Because just for instance, if a person works with me and they'll do the job that is needed, I don't care what their personal life is. I don't care. We have a situation where these kids need help.
Yes, absolutely.
From somebody that cares for them. And they have people that have man and husband and wife. They live a good on a surface. They live a good life. But when it, and I'm gonna go grown for a minute.
Come on now.
But the man, he had a wife, he has children, but when it comes to little boys and little girls, or especially little boys, he want a blowjob. I'm done.
You threw some out there.
Something wrong with him.
Exactly. Who I said I was gonna go to next, man? You threw me on Bishop.
Man, that Donald boy.
Toy, you coming to you next.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Man, I'm telling you, don't hit me right there, boy.
Yeah.
If I find out some mess like that, brother, now you'll get a different side of me. I can't stand that type of behavior.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd have a problem. I'm going to make this plain, man. This is a great topic again, but I'm not here at the point to try to condemn everything that somebody does that's trying to do good. Their personal preference of a relationship is on them. They got to stand before God. But when it comes down to trying to help raise children, then that's different. But if that person is a pedophile, and this is what he wants from the children as a relationship or as a means of payment, he needs to be castrated and thrown under the jail.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Toy, you want to talk to him and sis, what's on your heart?
Yeah, no, I definitely not meant to offend, but I'm just being realistic, and I'm going to use an example. With R. Kelly and them girls that was young, you don't think he felt like I provided them a better life? I didn't do anything wrong, and they want to stay here. You understand what I'm saying? But although his actions, you can't do that, bro. Even if you did pay tuition, do this, do that. The point that I'm speaking of in this society is that the systems that we say are there have been there, and they don't work for us in reality and in actuality. And we humans don't do right, whether it's not us doing right by kids, whether it's not by doing right by our jobs and positions. Still, with all of us can do something in our community. There are still hundreds of thousands of kids in foster care. And the point is that some of us in these systems, even if we just take it back to slavery, the humans that ran the systems did not run the systems right. They ran it to manipulate and abuse and get over and get ahead. And that's the point that I'm trying to, help people understand that out here on these streets, it's still like that. You understand? There's still a lot going on in the households of these foster care parents. Look at the couple in California that drove off the cliff with the 6 kids in the car. You don't know. Abusers don't make it seem like it's supposed to be abused, and oftentimes it's the people you never thought it would be because they look so normal and this, that, and the third. And we see dysfunction. Oh yeah, they're dysfunctional. We know they hot over there. We know they daughters and make they boys sell drugs, but they still foster parents though. So when I say we, it doesn't mean that I indulge in any of those activities. I say we as a human. We humans got some messed up ways, and that's the issue. And we are everywhere. And then until we humans get a grip and understand our roles and teach our youth and our loved ones and treat people with this love and respect and teach them morals, if we continue as humans to operate immorally, no matter who we are, the parent, the foster kid, the social worker that's underpaid and overworked and just don't care no more, or the system that shuts you down every time you try to do something wrong. These things should not be that complicated for us in 2021, is what I'm trying to say. And if we're still looking at all the people in foster care, all the people underpaid, and still no solution, we really got to recognize that, something's going on.
Something's going on, absolutely. Cassandra?
Yeah, when it comes to the foster care system, the foster care system is like, and Leonard, I don't know whether Leonard would agree with me with this. The foster care system is like every other system in this country. It's money driven. It's money driven because states get money from the federal government and other places to do these programs. So everything is money driven. So if you had a lot of these kids, the foster care system, you would literally shut down different parts of the state government if you had all of your kids out of foster care. We got to think about it. It's bigger than everything in the United States is about money. I mean, it's ridiculous, but it's not about people taking care of people, loving on people, none of that. It's about somebody making money somewhere. Whether it's the government, private industry, even the prison system. That's a whole nother
yes, Lord.
Could be a whole program by itself.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Absolutely.
All by itself.
Yeah. Yep. Good deal. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I hope people do, like I said before, get involved. And definitely if you know of some issues, and say if you know about it, you should talk about it. But you should talk to people that can change it.
Yes,
you
sir.
can talk. You should go down if you believe people are selling dope. We have a whole program. That's how most people lost their kids, because of dope. So if you believe that somebody is selling dope and they got foster kids, the moment that's reported to the police and all those types of things and goes through the system, kids are removed from the home. So there are ways to go after people for wrongdoing, but the fact that there is wrongdoing should not change the tenacity of the fight.
Exactly.
For these particular programs, because what we do know is that it does not get better without them. We know that for a fact. So we have these programs and resources for those issues, and it's up to the people to make sure that they hold those people accountable that have authority.
Good deal. I'm looking at the clock. It is 10 o'clock straight up and down. 10 o'clock, 9:59, but it's about to click. So, Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today, sir?
If you missed today's show or would like to catch it in its entirety, you can tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dklmediagroup.com.
Now, Rico, you have anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, I just agree with what everybody was saying, man. Toya, she pretty much hit it on the head. These organizations and these grants and everything have been in place. They give them more and more money, but, society is involved. Since the decades, these things have been in place. So, it takes a lot more oversight. These organizations have to evolve with the times, because at one point in time, children weren't putting up, or children weren't being lost because of parents being addicted to crack. That was a whole new era that came around, and more children started being put in the system. But one thing about it is that the numbers over time have always increased, and it's going to continue to increase unless we start solving some of these problems at the root.
Absolutely.
So if we really want to solve the problem with adoption and children being placed in adoption or in foster care, we have to go back to the root of the problem of why they even are in this situation and start addressing what society is doing about it. Not the government, but the village.
Exactly. Let me go to, I'm going to go down real quickly. Everybody give me a quick version before we get out of here. Tucson, anything on your heart before we get out of here?
Man, we covered a lot of things. We just need to narrow them down and try to focus on the real issue.
Exactly. Bishop?
No, man, thank you for the opportunity to be on the show and express my concerns and interests. Thank you.
Absolutely. Toya?
Oh no, man, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity. Again, I'm never here to offend y'all, but I'm definitely just gonna speak, what's on my mind. But I love y'all so much. I appreciate y'all for the platform, and I can't wait till the next time.
Absolutely. Love you too, sis. Cassandra?
Thank you so much. This was great. It's always good to hear everyone's opinion. We have our own opinions, and it's a great platform to express those opinions.
Absolutely.
And facts.
Exactly. Goddess?
Yes, I just wanted to state that please don't forget that school to pipeline prison is real. That's the next slavery, and foster care is right there, part of it. So you might want to kind of wake up, try to get part of it. I know Kansas City is already on the verge of doing it by building a $20 million facility, not just to hold the bad kids, but for the good kids too. So school to pipeline prison is really real.
Absolutely. Now, Captain Lynn, I got to ask you a question. What's going on at 11 o'clock today, sir?
Real Talk with New Order. We'll be back at 11 o'clock today from 11 a.m. to 12 o'clock on Monday, after Monday mornings, starting today. We hope to talk to some folks trying to become mayor as well. We're going to talk about all the work that we do at New Order and things of that nature. We're going to tell you what we need help with and the resources and things available in your community.
Good deal. Now, before we stop you from talking, Leonard, we're gonna get you the prayers out this morning.
Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for being blessed this morning to wake up in our right frames of mind and a reasonable portion of our health and strength. We hope that someone that has heard this program steps up and does the right thing by these children that so desperately need guidance and care and love. These and other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DK, your media group, and associates for being a part of your day. It is now 10:04. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you'll never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please be blessed.